Black Ops 2 Zombies gave us some of the most iconic maps ever, and some that felt rushed and forgettable. But no matter how good or bad, every single map had one fatal flaw holding it back. From busted mechanics to frustrating features, not a single map was perfect. How's it going, everyone? My name is Bearsy, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at what every single Black Ops 2 Zombies map did worst. Let's dive in. So Black Ops 2 Zombies was a very interesting experience for us zombie fans out there. You know, we've gotten survival maps for the first time. We've also gotten some brand new game modes known as Turn and Grief, which are also very fun game modes to play on the side, while also getting some of the most iconic wonder weapons that we all know and love to this day, such as the Hell's Retriever, the Blundergat, and also the Origin Staff. But with all those new gameplay introductions that we have seen, one of these maps didn't have a great gameplay introduction. Let's dive into Tranzit's biggest flaw. So Tranzit had way too many flaws for it to be a successful map. The denizens, the fog, but the one that sticks out to me the most has to be the bus system. Now the bus system in itself is really not a terrible system. Don't get me wrong, it sucks within Tranzit, and it was pretty innovative at the time, as of, the relevancy of this map during its time. But there are so many better ways to actually do the bus system. The one biggest change that I would have done with it is, let's say you're at the diner, for example, and instead of you having to wait for the bus to come all the way around just to come to the diner, a calling system, like you pay, 2,000 points, for example, to call the bus to that location, and it instantly comes there, and it can instantly bring you to any location that you want. This would have alleviated some of the pressure that was in Transit. Instead of having to go around on foot, you can just call the bus and pretty much go wherever you want. But Transit was not the only map that had a major flaw with it, and with that comes Nuketown Zombies. And Nuketown Zombies had a very annoying gameplay mechanic that was only ever introduced in this map, and its biggest flaw has to be delivery drops. Now, if you guys don't know how this system works, I'll quickly break it down for you here. Every few rounds, you'll hear some chime from the sky, and it will either be a random perk machine or Pack-a-Punch. Now, this is completely RNG, so you're never going to know what perk falls from the sky or if it's going to be Pack-a-Punch, and these are placed in random locations. While the system is good, it is very unpredictable. So you could get Juggernaut on an early round, or you could get Pack-a-Punch on a later round, or you could get both on a later round, or you could get both on an early round. All time and RNG will really depend on this actually, happening, but this is why it's a really unliked map because of this mechanic alone. It just makes high rounding, unpredictable. You have to survive early, or it could be very forgiving. It gives you the best stuff very early on. And this is the reason why this system has never came back within Call of Duty Zombies history. But after the disaster of Tranzit and Nuketown Zombies, Treyarch wanted to try a different approach when it does come to a zombies map, that being Die Rise. And oh boy, this map was something else. I can't even describe it. It wasn't a terrible map, it just played very weird. But its biggest flaw had to be the transportation system. Now, honestly, like I said, this map is not bad, but it could have been better. You have to go up and down on the elevator. For you to get across the, buildings, because there was 3 buildings, you had to use the flinger trap. I forget what it's called on the top of my head. It's a thing that you place down on the ground and it flings you across the map. Just these things were both a risk of life. Not to mention some of the perks, or pretty much all the perks, were in these elevators, and you had to wait for the elevator, then you had to wait to get the perk, then you had to go up on the elevator, go all the way to the top, then use your flinger, trap thingy, and then you have to place it at the right angle. If you don't place it at the right angle, you're pretty much going to be sent to floor 1, and that's either going to be a game over, you're going to need a revive. Just everything with this map just felt off. The easiest way that you could have fixed this map was a safer alternative way of transportation with teleporters. Now, these could have placed all over the map, so you could have had some at building 1, building 2, and building 3. You could have just paid 500 points to actually teleport yourself throughout the map instead of having to rely on that flinger device or the elevators. This would have changed the map completely, and I feel like a lot of fans would have loved it more with this simple change. But after the weird experience of the vertical high rise with Die Rise, we decided to go to a more grounded on level experience known as Mob of the Dead. So personally for me, this was a very hard, flaw to pick up because I love Mob of the Dead. It's actually my favorite zombies map out of all time, and yes, it does beat Derisive Drac for me, but its biggest flaw, I picked two: the refueling of the plane and the perk troll. Now, the perk troll, I'm going to get out of the way because it's a meme, within the Call of Duty Zombies community. They did it on purpose, and pretty much Mule Kick and PhD were outside of the dock area, and that means they were not on this map, so we could not buy them, even after players have been begging for these perks to come back. I just thought this was a funny thing to throw in. But the refueling of the plane was just the most annoying part of this map, because once you go on the island once and you pack-a-punch, the pack-a-punch system was fine, don't get me wrong, but when you come back to the island, every single time you wanted to go there, you have to pick up gas cans one at a time and go all the way up to the roof and do this 4 more times. If you're in a co-op game, this is much easier because every single player can just pick up 1 gas can, and then 1 more person can be running to grab the last one. But in a solo game, which I primarily play, you have to physically go to each location, pick up the gas tank, go all the way back up to the roof, then go to the next one, and rinse and repeat for the rest of them. Now, this was just very annoying. I mean, how many times did you really have to go back to the Pack-a-Punch? But every single time that you wanted to go back there, like due to the Easter egg, or go back there to Pack-a-Punch, this mechanic right here is what really annoyed me the most with Mob of the Dead, so this was its biggest flaw for me. But after visiting the historical site of Alcatraz, Treyarch decided to release a map that was solely based underground. This is Buried. So Buried was just a fun and interesting map. You had a ton of going on, but for that reason, that is its biggest flaw: the lack of challenge. Now, personally for me, this map was a very easy map. It was pretty much the only map where you can actually get started on round 1 the quickest. You have the chalk drawings, you have Leroy, you have the bank system, you have the perma perk with the SVU. There is just so many things that you could do on round 1 to actually get set up within this map. And not to mention, once you get set up, everyone, you guys know what I'm about to say, would camp in the hallway with their buildable traps, with their ray gun Mark IIs, with their paralyzers, and just constantly build up points, go stash it in the bank, so that way you're ready for next game. This is by far the easiest map for a casual to play if you have points, because you can easily just get a pack-a-punch weapon and everything you need on round 1 and just literally sit there and hold the trigger in the Juggernaut hallway. And honestly, while this map is great, the biggest flaw here, like I said, is the lack of challenge, because there really was no challenge unless were to make it to round 999. Then of course there's a challenge there because you have high stakes at the hand. But honestly, this map was just goofy. I love it, but it never this easy again. But with the map being remembered solely because of how easy it is, we have a map that is just so unforgettable within the community, that being Origins. Okay, so Origins is pretty much a perfect map. Not my favorite, but a lot of you guys' favorites out there, and it was very hard for me to pick a flaw from this one. In fact, I was staring at my computer screen for a straight 5 minutes trying to think of a flaw. But for me, this has to be the Templar Zombies. Now, some of you guys might say the mud, some of you guys might say the Panzer Soldat, but for me, the Templar Zombies has to be its biggest flaw, mainly because of a few reasons. One, there's such an inconvenience to the map where, let's say you're doing something at generator 6, now you have to run all the way to generator 1 to stop the power from going out. The other big inconvenience is, while this is happening, you have to run from one location to the other, stopping you at a hole. So, let's say, for example, you're going from generator 5, although it's not generator 5, Pack-a-Punch, all the way to generator 1 with all those tight corridors. Let's say you get so unlucky that a Panzer Soldat actually spawns, and while you have the Stas, or maybe the Boom Hilda, or maybe the Ray Gun Mark II, you take it out. But you're just getting trapped by these zombies, and you have to actually rely on your gun skill to actually take out these zombies, or it's going to be a quick down, and therefore it's just going to be a rinse and repeat of having to get your perks, or possibly even ending the game, so it's pretty much a game over. This for me was its biggest flaws, and it got me down a lot more times than you guys may have think. And honestly, this map, like I said, is just beyond perfect, but this is the one thing that sticks out to me. But Black Ops 2 Zombies was really an interesting experience. We had trash maps like Transit and Die Rise, while also getting beautiful masterpieces such as Mob of the Dead and Origins. But honestly, now it's your turn down there in the comment section below. What is your biggest flaw within each one of these zombies maps. You know, did you like my list? Do you guys have a different list? I want to hear from you guys down there in the comment section below. But that is going to be it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. As always, if you guys did enjoy, please smash that thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you guys do want to see more videos like this. And I really do appreciate the support from the last video. So that means I'm going through each zombies game later to decide what the worst thing is, and then we're going to transition into the best thing. So subscribe if you guys want to see all of those so you guys don't miss out on those videos. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you guys so much. This is Bear Z signing off. Stay healthy, stay clean. Bye.